racing round the curves in an Indy Miata. Through the hills we go, I feel too much roll. Hey, it's Killbite here. In this video, I'm going to do a front roll bar change. It's a little early in the morning. A little chilly outside too. Hopefully I'll be able to speak through this video. I'm going to put on sway bars. This video is for the front sway bar. So I am at best a shade tree mechanic, and I'm going to do the JBR. We're going to see if it is worth all the extra steps you got to do in order to have the bar come out easier and go in easier. So let's find out. Protect paint, check. Drop subframe, no. Drop steering, no. Cut bar, no. Measure fan shroud for undercar clearance. Mine is, the front end is up 17 to 18 inches depending on where you measure. Should be good. Adjustable end links. No, we are not changing the ride height, not lowering it, and not raising it. Adjustable sway bars, we'll talk about that when we get there. Weigh them. Yes, I will weigh them when we get the old one off. Bend them. So I'm going to bend them so that you can tell the difference, because you'll be able to see how much effort it's taking me to bend the sway bars. Yes, because I'm Superman. The sway bars I got are in fact the JBRs. So this video is focusing on the front sway bar install. I'm using a Nikon D5500 camera for this video. I will use a tripod as much as possible, and I've got lights to keep it lit up. Now, some of this stuff I will have to move the camera around, and I'll try not to move it too fast, but that's where we're at. Oh, and it's just me and my dog, Zuko. Hey, Zuko. So the first few steps, begin by parking on a smooth level surface with the emergency brake engaged. Jack up the front of the vehicle and position jack stands under the sides. Put the vehicle in neutral. Okay, well, I don't have the vehicle in neutral. I have it in first. You can see it's jacked up. It is on jack stands. The back wheels are chalked. It is on a flat surface, but I don't want to risk it rolling back. Chalk your back wheels for safety. As I said, the wheels are off. Have plenty of room for the fan shroud to come out the bottom. Begin by removing the belly pan using 10 mil socket and Phillips head screwdriver. Use a flathead screwdriver to remove the plastic retainers. So we're going to crawl under the car. We're under the car, and it says to remove. These are two Phillips. We have a rivet. You pull or a vinyl retainer. You pull the center down and then pull it out. Another Phillips. Phillips, and on over to the other side. So we're going to remove those, and we're going to try to remember which went in which, although the screws are all Phillips, so I don't think that'll be too hard. So you also need to remove the 10 mil bolt that's there, and on the other side. And there's a couple of those vinyl rivets. You got to remove those. And imagine those as well there. So I removed 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 screws. 4 of the normal nylon fasteners. And these 2 were the ones in the back. Wow, what a bear. Those things are a bear. You're going to need a large flathead screwdriver and really work them to get that middle to come out. It only comes out so far, and then I had to really work it to get the rest out. Try to keep track of where they go back. Now we have to remove these from the wheel wells. And there's one back there in the dark. And there it is, removed. And I just put it out of the way over here, and I put the nylon rivets, fasteners there with it, so I know which goes where. And do the same thing on the other side. So let me just warn you, you might as well go ahead and get yourself some extra nylon fasteners. You're gonna have one break, and you're just gonna have to force it out, which I'm just gonna have to use a screwdriver and force that out. So hopefully you got a replacement or two. So I'm back under on the right side of the car, and there are actually 3 more 10 mils on each side of that main pan. So hopefully that's a good angle where you can see it. And you'll find all kinds of stuff caught up in there if you drive yours at all. I want to show you what it looks like now that the pan is gone. There's your sway bar. These bushings are not, they're solid to the sway bar, so there's not enough room to feed them through here. And what that means is you have to either drop subframe, which in effect lowers the steering rack, or you have to unbolt the steering rack and manhandle it forward and down, and it is a pain. So we're going to go from the top and remove a bunch of little stuff in order to get it out. All right, we're under the rider's side still of the car. There's a bolt right here, 10 mil. There's a bolt back here, 10 mil. You want to remove those and try not to mess anything up while you're doing it. Alright, you got to do the same 2 bolts on the left hand side. So one thing I'll mention here is to try to pay attention to how tight the bolts are when you take them off, because like these 10 mils holding those little plastic shields up, they are not tight. So when you put them back on, don't over tighten them. Now we're going to remove the top of the end link from the sway bar. You only need to remove the top. We're not replacing the end links. It's a 14 mil, and you remove, it's on the back side of it, so make sure you're loosening it and not tightening it. So the end link has been removed from the sway bar. You may need to, like on mine, I had to pull down on the sway bar to free it up so it didn't booger up the threads. Now we're going to come over here. There are 2 10 mil bolts here, and if you follow back behind this, there's another one up there that you got to remove. It's on the right side. So there is a second bolt back buried under there. I'm going to wait until I loosen the sway bar there, and so I can get it out of the way so I can get to that bolt. So the instructions say remove the coolant sensor connector and then unclip the coolant sensor wire from the sensor housing with a pair of needle nose pliers. I'm just not seeing them. I don't know if that's they moved them on a 19 or what, but I'm just not seeing them, so I'm going to skip that for now. Next, using a 10 mil socket, remove the ground ground. Then remove your positive battery cable. This just pulls up. That's there to keep you from shocking, shorten it out. Loosen the nuts, securing the hold down strap. That's here and here. And then you remove the battery. Couple quick tips. If you're not familiar with how the battery hold down works, has little J's at the bottom that hook up under, so when you loosen this up, these will come around, and then you just pull it up out of the way. Pull this out. This is the insulation for your battery. Keep heat from killing it. Heat's what kills your batteries. And then you notice it in the cold when it takes more power to start. There's your battery. Camera is right where I want to really be. There we go. It is fairly heavy. Not as heavy as some, but there's also no handle or anything, so you got to kind of manhandle it. You got to squeeze the battery to keep from dropping it. Next, those 3 bolts come out, so you can remove that little box. So I've removed the 3 bolts, left them sitting there. Can't pull the tray out yet because of that. So I'm going to hold off on removing that. May not even have to. We'll see. So the next step is to remove the air hose here. I think the camera's messed up. 10 mil or Phillips. And another one back here, 10 mil or Phillips. I'm going to remove both of those so that you can get this out. You will also need to remove this right here. So what I did, so I removed that end. I actually left that one on. And I'm going to remove this 10 mil. Remove that end of the hose and remove that end of the hose. And then that's going to allow us to pull the air box out, and we can just leave that on, I believe. So a trick on removing these, you don't want to pull. That actually tightens it on the joint. It tightens it down. It's like your Chinese, the finger puzzles. You actually want to push from the end. It helps if you have 2 hands. Anyway, but yeah, push from the end. You can use a little twisting. A little bit of antifreeze comes out. I'm gonna have to use 2 fingers, 2 hands to push, but I've got already started it with that. You also need to remove this. Push down. Okay, new camera battery. Now we're gonna lift up. Especially on this side is where the rubber piece is. Pull up. And you can pull it out like so. And this one, don't spill it. There's a tab right here. Focus. Right here, and on the other one. And you gotta push those like forward and then pull it up. So next, 12 mils. Remove those. All right, I have moved the camera where maybe you can actually see me do this. Using needle nose. I'm going to remove this. Come on. There we go. Okay, you're supposed to remove this. I don't know how to remove that without breaking it. So we're going to hold off for a minute. And I am going to unplug this. So I was doing it right. It's just pretty stiff, especially when it's cold out and your hands are cold. You just push this in and pull it up. Take some effort. All right, we got this out of the way. So I ended up just twisting this around, and I'm hoping it's out of the way. That thing's a butt. If you can get yours out, great. If not, then, well, maybe you'll do what I did. Hopefully it'll work. Needle nose. Needle nose. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, right here. I covered the throttle body with painter's tape, make sure that nothing fell in there. So this allows you, there's a little one here. Pull your wires out from underneath here. Hope you remember how all this goes back together. Now there's one here too. Why not? There. Yeah, we'll see. 10 mil. Hopefully that's in the frame. These are the radiator supports. As you can see, when you do yours, they're not real tight, so don't over tighten them when you put them back together. It's funny how much dirt there is underneath all this stuff. Now we got to go underneath. So it's really, I'm going through the wheel well. There's a bracket right here, goes over here, and that, well, fell off. That, the fan shroud attaches to it. There's a 10 mil right here. That's got to come off. All right, I had loosened it already. All right. That's hanging, that's there. I'm gonna have to mark this one so I know where it went. And you gotta take the bracket, the clamp, wiring harness, clamp thing right here off, and this is one of those that I'm not sure how it comes off without breaking it, so we'll have to come back to it. I hope you can see where those are. This one here, push here, it's hard, pull up. This one, push here, it's hard, pull up. This is one of those clamps, I don't know, I'll have to get back on it. This technically does not have to come off. It's not attached to the shroud. These have to come off. Remove the connector from the shroud to ensure all wires have been removed from the shroud. So anything that's attached to the shroud that has to come off. And again, still those two have to come off. And as far as wires, that should be it. So let me work on trying to figure out how to do those. That is what I ended up using to try to get those stupid things out. It's the same as this one. So there it is. It's the same as that one, and you got to compress these two. You got to press those in so that it'll come out. And there's little holes right here and here that allow you to get something in there. There's probably a tool that you could buy that you just slide in there, press, and they pop out. I don't have one. I didn't see one. So I made that. It's just a little flathead screwdriver, and I bent it. It's like a 1/2 inch at the bend, and you just got to work at it. Good luck. Well, so far, by far, the most challenging. I ended up using, again, I had that tool. I also have from a clip, and then of course a flathead screwdriver. The ones on the bottom, you have to use, I use the clip and the flathead screwdriver because there are no access holes. You have to go in from underneath, come in from that way. All of the places where you need to press, I hope this shows, are on the length of the cable. So that's how you know which side you got to squeeze. They are all like that. So it's the length of the cable, because you won't be able to tell on a couple of them on the bottom. They are now all loose. Woohoo! You got to remove this clip from the radiator hose, and I will tell you, mine was, I'm assuming that was tape. I had to use I used a small screwdriver, and I actually put it in from this side and rolled it through to get it to break away from the tape without breaking the clamp. And to remove it, there's a piece here. You just, of course it's in a bad spot, push up with that, and I had to use a screwdriver to push from this side to push it out from the inside. So everything's removed from the shroud. But if you remember, I still had that 10 mil bolt that's holding the lower coolant line, and I can't get to it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the two 14 mils from the sway bar on both sides so that I can slide that out of the way and get to that bolt. Let me save you some agony. This is 14 mil. Socket won't go on it. You can use one of these. Oops. I'm getting really tired. I'll be honest. There's a bear. You can use one of these, a ratcheting box end. However, you're going to get to here, it's going to be stuck. And if you can't change the directions, you're screwed. You won't be able to do anything with it. You will literally be screwed. The open end, almost did it again with the light. Like I said, just don't get your wrench stuck. That's the key. So on the bolt, the nuts that are holding the sway bar brackets on, loosen the bottom one first, then start loosening the top one just enough so that you can then remove it with just your hands, because removing the bottom one, or at least getting it loosened up, remove some of that tension, and it'll allow you to turn the top one by hand earlier. So you do not want to get your wrench stuck. All right, we're at the top. We're now looking down. You'll see that wrench is on that 10 mil bolt. It is, I'll tell you, mine was really tight. I had to put some torque on it to get it to break loose. But you got to remove that one. That'll allow you to get that whole bracket holding the radiator, lower radiator hose. All right, I'm afraid it's pretty dark even with the lights. Wiring, get it taped off, moved out of the way. There should be nothing connected to the fan shroud at this point. So what the instructions say over here on the right side, if you're in the car, and you won't be able to see it, I don't think, there's some clips on this side, and you need to use a small screwdriver for the bottom one, but that will loosen it, but you're still going to have to pull it up to clear them. Okay, my bottom one is clear. Feels like there's something still connecting the fan shroud to the radiator. The top one is not cleared yet, but I can't move the back. Maybe I... Okay, I'm going to need to use a couple hands, and sorry, it is quite dark, actually. I can't see myself. See, that should be all right. Radiator is not supposed to come up. It's only supposed to be the fan shroud. Radiator should stay. The bottom one actually doesn't have clips. It just sets inside the... It doesn't clip. It just sets inside the piece that sticks up. However, got to be able to clear. Okay, so the right side, well, left side if you're in the car. My right, in front of the car, I have that side pulled away. Left side, okay, I've got it up. Okay, there it came. The instructions say to lower it without messing up your radiator. You gotta watch out for the pep cock. Make sure, okay, it cleared the pep cock. Clear the AC line. Okay, now you gotta watch the pep cock again. You may consider putting a piece of cardboard between. Okay, I think my camera is gonna work again. Buy a Canon. Sorry, I'm really pissed at my Nikon right now. Cardboard's here. I had to tape it so it didn't fall all the way. Watch the pep cock. That's kind of the tricky part. You do not want to break the pet cock. You don't want to mess this up. It's hitting over here on the lower radiator hose. Okay, the clamp's there. So I think what you actually want to do is pull up on the my right. Out. I think I actually wanted it to be higher on my right. So if this AC line wasn't here, it would be easy. Okay, don't break the pep cock. Clear the AC line. All right. And There's still, gotta watch that pepcock. Oh man, it's right there. I'll move the hose back a little. See, it's catching on the pepcock. Oh man. Okay, guide it over, around. Ladies and gentlemen. Boom! It's down. Woo! Styling and profiling. Woo! And there it is. Move it out of the way. That'll be fun to get back in. Nah, that was a challenge. That was seriously a challenge. But it's done. Per the instructions, remove the 14 mil nuts that are holding the sway bar brackets on, which we've already done. Slide the sway bar forward so each arm clears the tie rod ends, and rotate the bar so the arms are pointing towards the ground. Well, there's the bar. Now my wiring and stuff is probably in the way, so let me go underneath and see what we got to do down there. Remove the brackets. Remove those. Turn the steering wheel. Slide it forward and rotate it down like so. Slide the bar towards the driver's side. Lift the passenger side over the subframe. See, we can now, right here is the bar. There is a, what's it, power steering? What is that? There's a line over here on the right. I'm not sure offhand what it is. That you got to watch out for. It says to slide it towards the driver's side. That would be my right in this case, since I'm in North America. Well, the Americas. I'm in North America. Okay. That line, this line right here, makes it a bit of a challenge. And then there's a line over on that side, also making it a challenge. I don't want to break either of those. I'm definitely scraping it up. Let me play with it. All right, it helps if you had a second person. You can see the bar here. Whoa, falling out. So you have to bring it up right here against this, and you really need someone on the the side over here to push down on that hose, the metal bar, which then you can slide it more to the front of the car, and it will give it the room to come over. The cardboard's really helpful. Probably should have had some here. Thankfully the bar stuff didn't slam it. Hopefully that'll show enough. So we gotta squeeze it. Yeah. Oh, that ain't gonna work. Okay, bring it back. There we go. Turn it so the bar is down. Now you can bring it over. It's gonna hit a few things. You gotta move that hose a little bit right to the front. And I hope this is showing. Bring it up and out. Ba-doom. We are halfway done. I'm not even going to tell you how long it's been. So here are the sway bars. Stock, it's got the rubber bushing that is affixed to it. It is 5 pounds. There's your races. Bad. This is the JBR bar. It weighed 6.4 pounds, if my math is correct. And here are the braces. Put it in the camera. It's got the Durafane, I believe is what it's called, bushings, and a very solid bracket with a Zerk fitting so that you can grease them. Make sure you use synthetic grease only. But that's those. Now I will tell you, I had to spray paint some of mine because the powder coating on my front bar took a beating. I don't know if it was from the shipping or what. Here's a picture of it. Good news is you don't really see them, and it wasn't where the bushings will ride. The JBR, the Progress, several others have welded on pieces where it keeps the bar from moving side to side, and these will ride right here, and that way it keeps the bar from moving side to side. Others will have a clamp that you put on the outside of it. They serve the same function. Obviously the welded on ones are probably easier to deal with. You don't have to retighten them. You don't have to try to get them in the right spot because they should already be in the correct spot. These also have, you'll notice, 3 holes on each side. This one here is the loosest. That is because you get the most leverage if you were in this one. This one here is the tightest because the less leverage. And the way they work is, and I was kidding about trying to bend them, twist them. They actually use twist force to limit the sway. So the stronger, the more the bar resists twisting, the stronger it is, the least amount of sway you will have. It also tends to lock that set of wheels together, so if you are on a bumpy road and it's got bumps that don't line up and stuff, you will have a little stiffer suspension in that the right wheel goes up, the left wheel will want to go up a little bit because of the bar pulling it up. It's all right, I won't get into that too far. So now you got to put the new one in. Make sure you put it in the correct way, in that the raised part of the center section goes up. So we're going to feed it in here carefully. Try not to get it all banged up, scratched up. Watch the radiator. Alright, it really would be nice if you had 2 people. And you can see it, see on that hose there. And boom. We are in. Awesome. Without those bushings, it is so much easier. So you're going to want to maneuver. It helps to have 2 people. Maneuver the sway bar in before you straighten the steering wheel so that the arms are coming back. I am going to connect mine to the stiffest setting. I mean, why not, right? Let's really see how good they are. And I'm going to loosely put this in. I'm going to loosely put the nuts on the end links. Get them fully started but not tight, because we still got to put the bushing and stuff. So I'm going to go get the other side. Bushing. Brakes at the top. Comes with super lube synthetic grease with PTFE. This one was already got squished on the way here apparently. What you want to do, this you want all over the inside. You can get some on the outside, it's not going to hurt. But you want to get this, use this whole thing, getting it all in here, all completely cover that inside. If you get a squeak, it's because the lube, not enough lube. That's why it has the Zerk fitting. Every time you like change your oil or something, go ahead and re-grease these, or if you hear it squeaking. This stuff is messy, but at least this isn't real sticky like the energy suspension. Their grease, it's like glue. It's just nasty, nasty stuff. So I got it good and greased. You're going to want to have a rag. See if I can not knock my light off. Now, you're going to want to slide it over. And voila. Hope you can see that. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I am not putting this on yet, because if I put that on, it's going to be harder to do the other side. So I'm going to do the same grease treatment on the other side. Whoa, Nelly. I almost forgot something fairly important. Remember that 10 mil that I had to wait and do after loosened up sway bar? Yeah, definitely do not want to forget that that has to go back in before I tighten the sway bar. So, and if you'll notice, labeled, you can't read it maybe, lower radiator hose bracket. We actually are going to have to put the fan shroud in and do all that. At least do the fan shroud. I think I can do the rest of that, but you can't tighten that hose bracket until you get the fan shroud in. So make sure you do it in the right order. So the fan shroud should go in the opposite way. That is, my right should go up first. I'm sure we're going to have the same issues that we had getting it out. Watch the pepcock. You don't want to bust that off. Come on. Finesse. Try to finesse it. Don't try to power it in. Try not to break that little clip that holds the radiator, or that lower radiator hose. There we go. Watch the pepcock. What are we catching on?
Okay, that was in front of it. There we go. Definitely have that cardboard. Finesse, not power. By this time, your back is going to be sore. I know what you're thinking. You may not be able to even see it, that module right there. But that's not what's catching. Yep. It may take a few minutes. Okay, I think I got the camera so it's actually showing bright enough again. Woo! So I took it back, I played with it, finally took it back out. I actually removed this little thing here. I don't think I had to. I removed the lower radiator hose clamp. It's easy from the inside, so it's out. But neither one of those I don't believe were what fixed it. You want to bring it back up. I was too far angled. You want to bring it up a little more straight, and it came right up in. I mean, when it came in, it was just like, wow. It's almost like it was made that way. Yeah, you know. Make sure you get your top and bottom of these in. Alright, a lot has actually happened since my battery died on the camera. Fan shroud is in. Sure to remove your cardboard. Make sure your both clips are in. I remembered the 10 mil bolt down there, and I had to take the sway bar back off, disconnect it, in order to put that 10 mil back in. Also dropped the bolt, so of course it went in the pan that you have to remove to do your oil change. So I had to drop it. Finally got the bolt, got it back in. So those two are in. Now, walk over here. Hopefully my light stays lit. I have these on. Okay, so there you see that 10 mils there. And watch out for those little lines. I had the bracket on. I actually went ahead and moved to the middle hole, the end link to the middle hole. When doing the brackets, there's some the slots are large enough where you can move the bracket up or down. I just centered it, and I torqued it exactly how it said. Now, of course, you can't actually get a socket on that top one. That was a joke. But they're in. The sway bar's in. And now we'll move on to putting some other stuff on. So, the install of the front sway bar took probably 5 hours. Now, it took me like 10 with the video over 2 days. It probably would have only took 5 or less if I wasn't doing the video. But I ran into some problems with, for instance, the 10 mil bolt that fell down, and I had to fish it out. Took extra time figuring out the fasteners and stuff. One thing I didn't show is I broke a 12 mil socket. Thankfully I had another one, and I'm probably going to break this into 2 videos. I'll have the video of the install, and that's going to be long, and then I'm going to do a video of the putting everything back together. That'll be a little shorter, but I put some tips in there as well. Maybe it was helpful to you. If so, please like, subscribe, comment, and good luck with yours.